Hey guys, it's Giselle with Craft Imaginations. I wanted to make a video that wasn't time-lapse, where I could give you some instruction about how to use the Sculpey pattern mold, which is oven safe. Once you have finished conditioning your clay, you can go ahead and start pressing it down with your fingertips onto the mold so that you can fill all the empty space, and use a cling wrap over the mold and the clay so that it doesn't stick to your clay roller. Acrylic is really nice, but it still tends to be sticky after you condition it for a while. Once you've done that, you grab your slicer and try to trim off the excess off the top while being very careful not to grab any of the actual mold because it will damage the print. Go ahead and continue to slice off the top until you can see a very clear pattern underneath. That way you can see what parts have some gaps so that you can fill them back in with the excess clay that you just recently cut off. You need to make sure that when you are refilling these gaps that you are using enough pressure so that you don't have to redo this process over and over again, because every time you slice off the excess of the top, you will see whether or not you actually filled in the holes properly. You could use liquid clay, which is what it was intended for. That way you don't have to follow this process. Here I am just checking to see whether or not this is sufficient to make my design. Once you are satisfied, you can then go ahead and redo the process from earlier, putting the cling wrap on, rolling your clay until everything is smooth and flattened down so that everything is tight. Go ahead and remove your cling wrap, inspect your work, and then start slicing the excess off again. Make sure that you check all the recently put clay in there to make sure that you actually covered all the gaps. If you're all done and you're satisfied, you can go ahead and grab your final piece. And I like to recommend that you first roll your actual mat on top and then turn around your mold and then do it from the back. This way you are not only just putting pressure on the front, but also the back so that the design sticks on perfectly. I also like to add a little bit of hand pressure just so I can get a feel for it. Once I start peeling it off, I do it very carefully, very slowly, so that if I see any damage to the pattern, I can go back and press it again just a little bit. And that way, my pattern does not get messed up. As you can see, I am using my finger to press down because I detected a little default from the clay on the mat. So I press down and lift again. One little tip I have is after you roll your clay, I like to use the slicer to lift it before I decide to use my cutters I've noticed that when I use my cutters and my clay still pressed to the glass, it tends to be too sticky and leaves a residue as well as an uneven edge, which makes it harder after cooking for sanding and everything. So definitely try the slicer and see how much difference that makes for you. And here I got two beautiful designs out of this small little pattern. Again, I lift. I don't use my fingers because I do not want to damage the design. And here are the final pieces. Look how beautiful they look. Very sharp and crisp lines. Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, and share.